Uh, Hi everyone. I think I was speaking on mute. So no issues. We a very good afternoon to everyone who has joined us today. My name is Anushri and I am a senior security engineer at Dell EMC. On the behalf of two cybersecurity communities, SecOnset and Cyber Defenders, I Anushri welcome to all of you for the special webinar on cyber crime safety in tough time of COVID-19 pandemic. Before introducing our guest speaker for the day, I would like to give small introduction about SecOnset and Cyber Defenses community. SecOnset is an open community for the beginners in cybersecurity to help them with proper resources by the experts. Its mission is to provide a platform to build your career in cybersecurity with the right skill set. And Cyber Defenses community is an open group of passionate information security researchers and CTF players. The members of these communities are actively participating in various capture the flag events and regularly helping community by publishing their CTF experience and write-ups. It's an honor and proud privilege for us to welcome a very great personality, Mr. Pragati Raman sir, who is a cybercrime investigator at Telangana State Police. He has a demonstrated history of working in the law enforcement in the fields of forensics investigations and cybercrime. He has given his contribution in multiple areas like detecting cybercrime offenses, forensics auditing, forensics analysis, cybersecurity, and team leadership. He has also trained officers of law enforcement agencies in the field of cybercrime investigations at Telangana State Police Academy and also delivered several lectures on cybercrime investigations and digital forensics at NPA, CTTI, MHA, MCR, HRDI, Karnataka Police Academy, and Intelligence. He has received multiple commendations and rewards for detecting offenses related to cybercrime and conventional crime. Sir, we welcome you to the special webinar on cybercrime safety in tough time of COVID-19. And I'm sure your words of wisdom, sharing of your thoughts and knowledge will bring more and more awareness to all of our participants and especially to the whole cybersecurity community. Once again, we welcome you, sir, and over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anishri. That was a long introduction, but I'm okay with that. I'm not used to actually introductions and all, but yeah, it's kind of a thing. It's okay. So, anyways, thank you so much. And this is a great community, and this is the after a long time we've been part of this concept and cyber defenses. So, hoping this session would actually bring you awareness on what exactly is happening outside and how people are being victimized, how people are being targeted, what exactly is happening down here, and how people approach what exactly is the issue, and the problems caused right now and during this past 4 or 5 months where COVID has started and we were all preoccupied and people were at home and we were losing a lot of lives. But yes, okay. So my agenda for today is to actually discuss about the the major problems caused and how the social media platforms were targeted, how people were actually being sent spam content, how malware was being sent across the online communities, and how people were targeted in the names of Paytm KYCs, then lottery frauds, and the major problems you are facing while you are online. See, first and the foremost thing, uh, be I would not even tell you that you should be on social media. First thing, social media is nothing but you are selling your information for something which is gained by the particular application you are using. So we are facing this from quite a long time. Apart from that, like we would I would like to show you something which is quite there. Let me share my screen actually. So first and the foremost thing is privacy is just an illusion, which I am sure most of you are not aware. So if you are wondering that, okay, I am using a VPN, I am using a broadcast, I'm using some other country's IP address, you would not be traced. That is something which is just an illusion. There is nothing called as locking of profiles. There is nothing called as you keeping yourself hidden. As long as your details are online, and as long as you are browsing the content online, your information is stored, your information is shared, and your information is sold. This is something which we would talk about mostly today. So I'm sure that everybody is aware of social media and everybody has browses the content. We are on LinkedIn, we are on social Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Anything which you are sharing online, it is also being used as a medium to sell your information. One thing would be the information which you are sharing. Then most of the problems which we faced in these 6 7 months of time is the online complaints regarding to the dating apps, then your playing of PUBG games on your mobile phones, wherein the students were targeted, the people who were actually trying to gain fame during while playing the game. So certain phishing links were sent to all the users online in the chat boxes. When as soon as they clicked, they lost that particular account, and they were actually there was some haywire during that period of time, and they approached the local police station. They were filing a written complaint. Apart from that, you must be facing see, problems wherein certain jobs were lost during this part of time, and you were actually being called targeted, and you were uploading your resumes on your portal page such as naukri.com, shine.com. But in again you were receiving certain phone calls stating that is that we are looking for a job, and you were trying so they were asking you to pay for the registration fees. Then comes your offer letters. This is something which is completely a fraud. If in case you are being targeted, then you can actually approach your local cybercrime police station. So there is a set of things which you need to carry. So we would not be able to refund. I mean, the probability of getting the money lost during this part of once you have sent it is very partial. So you can actually we can the local police station, if they have that particular medium, they would be able to refund you partially. But yes, you can do it. Apart from that, whatever you post online is nothing but a show off. I mean, I seriously don't like to be on any social media. It is just for my information. I try to do it, nothing more than that. So the more you post on social media, the more it is financially motivated. Apart from that, this is something which is there. You must have heard about certain ransomware attacks, then Bitcoin currency changes, then you must be receiving certain messages on your mobile phones about some lottery scams, and you have won this and that. You need to give your details and all. So lottery scams are majorly from the Nigerian part of the country, wherein people actually send you fake SMSs, fake emails, and they try to collect money as much as they can. So I'm sure you guys also must have uh, gone to the local marts, malls, and filled out forms, right? In regards to the lottery or some special draw, wherein you give your phone number, information, and all. That is something which is sold. Like each of the card which you write in a mall is actually sold for certain amount of money, and that information is sold online to certain agencies. So I mean, I will not be able to give you the names of the agencies, but yes, that is how it is being done. So next is your, as soon as you mention your email address, your phone numbers, those are being actually uh, what do you call it, stored in a place wherein that particular thing is sold online and selling. These most of the schools and colleges are being targeted, wherein they are, I mean, since mostly the students who are actually passing out, and they try to actually submit their resumes and look for placements else, right? So even the information which is stored in your college or school, that information is also sold online. You just need to call up any toll free number or just dial, and you can ask for the information. They'll have it actually give it to you for certain amount of money. That is what is currently been going on. So this is what it is. Mostly, I'm sure you have heard about spam, phishing, malware. Right, spam is something which you always receive. Phishing, we have already seen it. So right, when it comes to malware, it is being identified that do not click on any of the emails which is not actually known to you. See, it might be I mean, as soon as you see that email, it might be very attractive, but do not do it, because we have actually seen how this particular thing works in the background, and as soon as you click on it, how the information is being stored, how the information is being transmitted to the person who has actually installed sent this malware to you, and how the traffic is being generated. So basing on that information, we are actually, I mean, we were able to find out the source from where it is being transmitted. But yes, do not click on any of the information which is being passed via email. See, it's not that every email has to be genuine. It's just that you need to be sure what exactly that email content is about. This is how I'm sure everybody must have received till now. This is what is happening. Right. I'm sure you must have actually get a lot of these. In the past 6-7 months, we have seen high rise in cyber crime offenses, since everybody were at home and they were working from home, and there was no specific thing, and everybody was ordering online. The deliveries were not happening, so they were reaching out to customer care. So one thing I would recommend to everyone is, do not search for customer care numbers on any of the websites such as google.com or your bing or your search.com. Do not search for it. Try to actually go to that particular website, and there's always a contact us or a help button which you can see in the application or in the website. But do not dial or search for any phone numbers online which is being shown in the Google page, on the Google search bar, as soon as you search for it. So most apart from this, the offenses which we received are in regards to jobs and the online dating applications, right? I'm sure you must have heard about Tinder, and you must be going through a lot of stuff there. You must be matching, mismatching, like, right, Snapchat. So that content was being the information which you were posting on Tinder, Snapchat during this COVID times were actually being circulated on social media platforms, and that they were used as a revenge in collecting money and blackmailing the particular victim. So the victim was actually approaching the cybercrime police station, and they were continuously in touch. So by the time we were able to find out the person who was doing it, so it was known that the person was not actually aware of this person. They only met through some online platform. They just saw each other, and that is how it was being circulated. So the one more thing which I would request everyone is to, if you are posting, if you are on social media and posting your photographs, I would request you to kindly not to show your face. I mean, it might not be, I mean, you would not feel good, but that is how it is, because most of the people are actually uh, downloading the photographs which are online and posting it and claiming to be someone else, and posting it within the friends of the friends and somewhere outside. That is what I would recommend mostly. This is certain links which are being continuously posted. I'm sure everybody must have got it. It's not me, it's not you. Each and every person must have got the particular links. I mean, these are just few, but this is just a part, right? And you must have also seen about the fake Facebook pages, Instagram pages, and the phishing websites which you are seeing. This is just a rough figure for now. So there is no exact figure, it is just an approximate. So I would not say 40 to, actually I would say 70 to 80% rise in cybercrime in phishing of this website within just 7 months of time. Right, this is something which is happening. Right, this is what is, I mean, my area of expertise is actually social media crimes and hacking. So when someone does something like this, so we have that medium and we have this mechanism to actually find out who exactly is doing it, how it is going on. Yes, we have this particular things which are not available to everyone, but yes, we are able to find out the exact person. Doesn't matter if you are using a VPN. So forget about that mindset wherein you get to think that, okay, I am using a VPN and I would not be traced. That is something which is not, you need to get that out of your mind. So if you are doing something like this, it's just a caution that you would be caught and you would be kept behind bars for doing this. Always respect the opposite person's identity. So they might be your friends, colleagues, or somebody else, right? So this is what it is. This is what mostly stalking is done by these kind of things, just false accusations, making threats, identity theft. Then see, and one thing I would say, I would recommend everyone is, do not search for anything for in online. It is bad, and you would be addicted to it. So mostly the targeted people are the female genders, wherein over the age of only 17 to 19, or mostly 20 to 25, they are targeted. So that is what it is. So these are the most types of stalkers actually, which I have seen till now. So these are just a few. So this is one, a rejected stalker, resentful cyber stalker, predatory and collective. Right. I would like to talk about the collective cyber stalkers more and the predatory ones, because these two are the most uh, uh, people. I mean, they are actually behind this. So what happens in this predatory is, I mean, they were in some relationship with some person, and they get befriended, or they get rejected, or they're not available, so they don't talk. So this is one, they try to what do you call it, give all the information online, and they would call that particular person something which is not appropriate, and that person starts to get so defamed online that there are certain cases wherein a person committed suicide based upon that false allegations which were done. Right, collective is something which I would emphasize more, because see, let's say for example you are on a social media platform and you are posting your pictures, right? Most of the people would actually see how many comments and how many likes they are looking for. Like they would like to see, and they feel that okay, I am the most happening person right now on Instagram. People are liking my photographs and they are commenting. It is something which is completely irrelevant, right? What these collective stalkers do is they stalk you by knowing you and by unknowingly you. They first try to they just monitor you for quite a time, quite some time, and they start collecting all your information, whatever you're posting, how many people are actually commenting on your photographs, and they are actually talking about it. So they collect all this particular photographs and the IDs of this particular persons, and they try to again sell it, give it to various people and start circulating it on social media platforms. And they gather this information and they start portraying it as okay, we are there to help, we will look into this, we will look into that. Those are the people you need to be actually be you need to keep them away, because those are just trying to collect information from you and selling it or giving it to someone, and just trying to what do you call, uh, show in the way that okay, yes, this is something which has happened and it won't happen. So that is something which is completely wrong. I would recommend that do not talk or gossip about your photographs which you are posting online. I would mostly recommend you not to be online. But this is what something which is there. We have not completely gathered the details yet. Right. So this is these are the 5 places where stalking occurs. One is your search engines. So if you are thinking that anything I search online is not visible, but I'm so sorry to say, but whatever you search online is recorded, is stored, and if and when required, it is being monitored. Next is your online forums, right? I'm sure everybody is used about what do you call it? I'm not getting the particular exact word. Telling about the things you have been doing online, the awards you've been receiving, the what do you call it? The in simple terms, the mostly the bug bounty hunters. I love the people a lot, because they are the ones who are actually making the Indian cyberspace very secure. I would actually would like to learn in in near future. Right, I actually respect those people a lot. Yes, there were certain times where there were few bug bounty hunters who were trying to actually sell that information somewhere else, but we were able to catch those few. Right. Next is your chat rooms. Do not disclose any information on any chat rooms. Doesn't matter how private a particular information that chat room is. Uh, so the more information you share on chat rooms is something which is being monitored. Next is your online communities. Forget about online communities. There's nothing called an online community. It is just a place where people are talking and nothing. And some X person is actually monitoring. Bulletin and discussion boards. It is completely a haywire. It is like you are giving your information. It's like I have posted the content. Can you please look into it and copy my content? This is what I would say. These are just the most of the 5 places where it is being shared, because each and everything you share is stored and circulated. So this is just a normal comparison on bullying and cyberbullying. So see, if you see difference between bullying something which is actually happens face to face, that is something good rather than being cyberbullied, which happens 365 days a year, which is completely wrong. Right. Still, I would the most every time I would say is try to get out of the social media. It won't even help you in any way, right? Because some person would not every person would take you in a positive manner. Not everybody would take you as in a sportive manner. You would always be monitored, you would always be annoyed, you would always your information would 99.9% be shared online, and you would be targeted all the time, right? And the once a cyber criminal is always cyber criminal. He would not he doesn't needs to sit at one place and do this thing. He would do it, he can do it from anywhere in the anywhere in the world. He just needs a laptop or a mobile phone and internet connection, which is actually free nowadays thanks to Geo, right? I mean, yeah, thanks to Geo it's free, but most of the people would like the high speed broadband connections. But I would say it's not worth. You you only be online if you need something online. That's it. Apart from that, everything is just you are just a place where information is being given and sold. So this is what is be the current trend, wherein 91% of the teens post their photographs, and they don't even know who is looking into that particular photograph, right? And 53% of teens post their email addresses. See, in this recent times, yes, it is due to awareness among the public and due to awareness among the in the schools. People are not posting their personal information online, like your phone numbers and the email addresses. It has gone down, but on the left hand side where personal information is being, everything is being shared. This is what is there. So, basing on your interests and the place of work or your uh, place of stay, we are actually able to profile you and understand your similarities. I mean, and the interest, and basing on that, the information which is being given to you or posted to you is nothing but the information which is being what we would like to know from your end. Like, it is not about me, because since I am working, I'm working for the law enforcement agency. So my job is to make you safe, uh, and to actually make sure that since if in case you face any trouble, we would always be there to help you out. But what we would request you is to first remove all the information from all the social media accounts. Do not try to do portray yourself, because this would actually land you in trouble. This is what we would recommend. This is something which everybody knows, right? And I'm sure you guys all know how it is done, right? You know the rules. I'm sure that everybody must be using their alphanumeric passwords, which is uh, by default. I mean, you must be doing using that particular alphanumeric passwords, right? And the when it comes to social media profiles and all, always mask yourself as much as you can. Do not post content or do not post pictures which is not there. So, and do not post. And so one thing I would recommend you is always use an updated antivirus, which will actually be helpful to you. It will actually keep you secure. I'm not saying that antivirus applications are always genuine, because privacy is something which is just an illusion which everybody thinks. They think that we are secure, we are safe. That is nothing called as safe and secure. The day the person who is not on social media or online is the person who is actually secure. This is what I would say. And this is just a start, a beginning. So we are aware in the near future, yes, we would be able to actually secure the Indian domain. In the last and the foremost thing, this is what which I would like to say. In the last thing of securing, saying secure is the beware of unknown people who are actually trying to connect with you. Right, this is something which I would recommend everyone. And I'm sure you are aware of the HTTPS and the HTTP concept, how it works and how it works or doesn't work. So nowadays there are certain websites which are running on HTTPS also. I mean, but yes, those websites are also partially fake. Yes, we are trying to make a list of all the websites which are fake and which are running on HTTPS secure broadband, a secure line. And do not use your public Wi-Fi. So, I would like to discuss something which is, which we came to know in the recent times, and we were actually looking into this very cautiously because we during this pandemic period we actually received certain complaints in regards to usage of public Wi-Fi. So actually, a person approached and stated that they were particular person was using a public Wi-Fi connection and browsing the internet using the public Wi-Fi. So always remember that if you are using a public Wi-Fi, do not open any banking websites. Do not browse any internet. Do not browse any social media platforms. Use it to only search for the content which you want. So in this particular case wherein the person lost almost like 1.7 lakhs just by using a public Wi-Fi and trying to transfer certain amount using a banking application, wherein he was entering the password using a virtual keyboard. Right, everybody has this concept using that. Okay, virtual keyboards are not predictable, they cannot be seen. But I'm so sorry to say, but it is something wrong. Virtual keyboards are just time being keyboards where the keys are interchanged, nothing more than that. So by the time we came to know that okay, this was a public Wi-Fi, the major challenge was of accessing this particular logs in the public Wi-Fi. Right. Public Wi-Fi is something used by hundreds and lakhs of people during that point of time. You don't know where to look, what to look. So this is what was the concern. Yes, it took us some time, but we were able to nab the person who was actually doing it. It was not one person's account, but there were hundreds of accounts who were compromised, and only minor amounts were being transferred at point of time. Yes, it was a nice experience. Yes, we came to know that okay, public Wi-Fi is should be limited and not recommended to everyone. So we had certain raised certain issue guidelines. I mean, my senior officers and my boss were actually, I mean, was the in charge officer. He actually went down to everybody and said that the public Wi-Fi is not to be used by everyone. Yes, I mean, we tried to close it as much as possible. I would also recommend do not use public Wi-Fi at all. If you are not if things are not turning out well, that is when you means if there are certain issues wherein with your internet and there is no possibility that your internet is working, then using a public Wi-Fi we would recommend, but only for searching the content online, but not for any doing any bank transactions or opening your social media accounts. This is what I would like to say. So this is the summary of what I wanted to discuss in total today. I would still, I would always say that social media is nothing but a threat. And in future, yes, we would try to uh, secure it if things go on very well. This is what I wanted to discuss about. So apart from that, what is that you would like to know from our side? Uh, so we are open to questions and open to things like okay. For the beginners in the field of cybersecurity and the graduates who are passing out, yes, I would recommend that you actually get yourself certified in field of forensics and cybersecurity. CEH is by default available for from EC Council. Get yourself done certified. I'm sure once you get that certification done, you can actually roll out your resumes to multiple people. Apart from that, try doing your certification in regards to information security also, because and to get yourself certified in field of Sparks. I mean, most of the big agencies, big companies are looking for Sparks, so they would want some persons who are actually certified to actually work for them. And apart from that, what more can you would you like to ask to want me to tell you what is that you want to know? Is there yeah good colleges I would recommend? See, if you are residing in Hyderabad, I would recommend Nalsar. Nalsar has a nice MSc graduate program and a PhD program in regards to cybersecurity and digital forensics. In Ahmedabad, you have Gujarat Forensics. These are certain colleges which are actually giving you the best education. And since you are actually working in the field of cybersecurity and you are in the field of collecting of information and doing offensive techniques, yes, these will actually guide you and they will actually help you out in your future. uh, what else? Second, most of the this is what is happening right now, and we are facing this. uh, Second most important thing I would want you to do is when it comes to gaining this knowledge in this, would be hands-on practice. Since you are most of the people are new graduates and still pursuing their graduation, and you're actually working in the field of bug bounty hunting, uh, try to come from the hunting part of a knowledge to the investigation part of knowledge, wherein the information which you are collecting in the form of bug bounty, right, which is rewarded in the form of bug bounty, right, that information you can actually do it in finding out the people how they are being targeted, right. There are certain information which are limited, but yes, they would actually help in slowing down the pace of cybercrime offenses, which the young generation which you are right now would be actually helping the next generations on what exactly this field is about and how information is being collected. There are certain questions like, sir, what industry level certification we can do to enter in cybersecurity field? I would industry level certification, yes. I would recommend CISA is much more better, because CDFE is also much more better, because these two are the current certifications which most of the agencies want. They are looking for people. So yes, this is what two I would recommend as of now. Uh, and apart from that, what I would recommend is actually doing an internship at any of your place of residence. And you can actually get in touch with any cybercrime cell within your state. They would be happy to actually give you an internship, because they want people who are qualified in the field of cybersecurity and in the field of collecting of information. This is something which is the current law enforcement agencies want. Okay, whether WhatsApp is safe, I would be very honest to you, since I've been actually telling that privacy is just an illusion. WhatsApp is also same. There is nothing called as a privacy. This is just a term which is being used everywhere, and there is nothing called as encryption. There is nothing called as decryption. You just need to know how to crack it, and automatically it is the information is revealed. WhatsApp is not safe, and the other applications which you are using is not safe at all. This is what I would like to say. Okay, why is the conviction rate less? See, conviction rate is less because the uh, officials who are currently, the officials are not exactly aware of the Information Technology Act and how it works, and what are the certain parameters where the evidences are admissible in the court. So the officers are being trained at the judicial level also. So mostly by this year end or by next year, I am sure that the conviction would be more in it regards to admissibility of the evidences procured from devices or the nodal agencies. Yes, we are trying our level best. We have very good officers who are actually training the judicial academies in regards to the cybercrime investigation and the Information Technology Act, which is governed by them itself. So we follow this Information Technology Act 2008. There's one more question wherein during this pandemic, how is this current job market or elective profession? So, see, this is the time wherein the SOC analysis are actually being hired, because they would like to secure their domains, and they would like to keep their websites secure as much as possible. Because you are the SOC analysts are the people who are actually are aware of this technology, and they can actually keep that particular domain very safe. uh, yes, it's a very nice market is high. You can actually apply for very nice companies. They like EY is looking for SOC analysts. Then we have PwC. Then we have Thomson, who is actually looking for them. I'm talking about top companies who are actually currently hiring these people. Myself and I also, what are the topics, codes, or see, when it comes to cybercrime investigation, you just it's a very different concept. It is not something which is you get to learn from any college, or you get to learn from any place. Any institution. This is something which is completely different concept. What I would recommend you is you to do a certification course on forensics, do a certification course on ethical hacking. By doing both these courses, you would actually get a hang of what exactly the procedure is. Like, we would not be able to, I mean, we won't be able to discuss on how it is done, but yes, basing on these two certifications, you will actually get to understand how this fraud work, and how the information is stolen. Topics I would recommend you is, first is your how the financial mechanism works. Like your forensic auditing is something which is you need to learn. Basing on the forensic auditing, you can actually learn the financial transactions, how it is being passed, how it is being analyzed, how these things works, how banking sector works, then your how your share market work. So this is something which you need to learn. Next is your mobile forensics, something which I would recommend everyone. Okay, open source uh, tools in digital forensics. You have FTK, which is openly available. Then you have Multigo. Multigo is something used for searching the content online. Then is your digital forensics. You have Celebrite, which is giving you this Encase portable. It's nice. Yes, you can use it. I would recommend these three because these are some things which are currently working. Do we have cyber? See, cybercrime lab is something which is there, yes, in all police stations in most of the states. What exactly they do is they try to collect the information, and the authentication is only given by the forensic science laboratory of all the states. The report which is sent by them is only admissible in the court. Apart from that, there is no other place where the evidence submitted by the cyber lab is genuine. Only the forensic science laboratory of that particular state has the only authority to actually give a certified report in regards to the electronic devices seized by the investigation officers. So this is just what gist of what exactly happens. Okay, my journey is quite a long process. I mean, I was actually working for Google. So after that, and while working for Google, I was working for a very nice platform. Basing on that platform, it actually landed me in CID. That was where I mean, place where I actually came in first, and that is the place where I learned forensics. I mean, I already knew auditing, and auditing, and I knew how we used to trace people. And since I was already an ethical hacker, all this information, the knowledge which I already gained earlier, I was just uh, using it in for investigations. I mean, how this can be done, how this cannot be done, what are the limitations, what are the challenges which we would be facing, how we could stop this particular thing from passing out, being circulated online. So, yeah, I mean, it took me, I mean, it's now like 7 years now. I've been part of the Telangana State Police. Uh, yes, I I love my job a lot. I would actually work. I mean, 24 hours is very less for me. I would. I would recommend it to everyone. I mean, yes, you actually get yourself certified, get yourself interned from a nice cybercrime police station or cyber security agency. You would actually learn so many things. That would be very, very helpful to you in your future building up your career in this field. Uh, do not look. Okay, is it possible to be caught who used or a proxy? That is what I'm telling. Get out of the concept of VPN or Tor networks. So the only medium of I'll tell you first what exactly is the meaning of a VPN, right? It's nothing but a virtual private network, right? Wherein your original IP is masked by some IP of some other country, right? I'm sure if my understanding is not wrong. Yes, it doesn't matter what VPN you are using, doesn't matter which Tor network you are using, I mean the Tor browser you are using, each and everything is captured, each and everything is being noted, each and everything is being monitored. So it doesn't matter if you use Tor or if you use a proxy network or you use a paid VPN or if you use a virtual number, if you use a number which is not registered online, or if you're using a email ID which is of a different country, we know how to get that information. Yes, you would be caught. Yes, there is no way that you can hide yourself. Okay, this is something which I would love. Methodology behind to trace. Okay, I would not discuss about the investigation part because that is something which is limited to law enforcement only. Yes, we are able to trace the persons who are bullied using online channels. Uh, yes, I mean, I would not actually discuss the investigation part and how the information is procured. But yes, you would be caught if you bully a person online. Okay, specific crimes were most of the crimes which happened during the pandemic were the online job frauds, wherein people were losing jobs, they were looking for a change, and they were uploading their resumes, and they were searching online, they were receiving fake emails in regards to the offer letters, and they were being asked to pay a certain amount of money to get this offer letter. One is the job frauds. Second are the online dating applications, where most of the people were actually being bullied in the name of dating. Uh, next, third most, third most important case. I mean, most of the cases were playing online games like your Ludo, then your PUBG online, Call of Duty online on your mobile phones. So, I mean, these were the major cases which we were receiving during this pandemic, which is ongoing still. When it comes to playing PUBG and Call of Duty online and Free Fire, right? The teens and the people were so addicted to it that they were actually paying it to gain certain levels. Because even I do, I used to play, but we were getting less amount of time. I was not. I used to play only like half an hour or 45 minutes max, but it is something which I don't do it now anymore. That was just stress relief kind of thing when you're actually stressed. So yes, people were actually losing their credentials, and people were getting spammed. So most of the complaints were regarding hacking of Facebook accounts, hacking of Gmail accounts, which are connected to the PUBG accounts. So how can we get internship in cybercrime and see? It depends upon the cybercrime cell which you are applying for. Generally, it depends. If they actually want you, they will take you. If your services are not required and if they do not allow you to actually work on the live cases which are ongoing, they would not recommend. Yes, you can actually approach and get internship done depending upon the cybercrime cell which you where you reside from. uh, how forensic investigators collect terms from affected PCs in case of forensic investigator to connected. How forensic investigator collect terms from affected PCs in case of. I mean, the question is not completely clear. So, what is that you are looking for? So, we have certain applications wherein, yes, we are able to correct we are able to collect the RAM dumps from the removal contents. So there's a set of procedure which we follow while collecting the information online or on-site or off-site. So basing on that particular SOP, standard operating procedures only, we do this collect the dumps from the PCs. So we have this mechanism of even looking into the files which are actually encrypted. So we will follow that procedure. Okay, this is a question which you are asking a wrong person. I would not say that net banking is safe. I would recommend that you physically go to the bank, get yourself, take a fill a form, withdraw the money, and come back, because that is the only thing which is actually good. All those net banking sites which actually claim that they are using encryption which is high encrypted, that is something which I don't believe in. Yes, there are people who are actually working in securing the websites of banking sectors, but as of now, it is just something which is told to everyone. I would not recommend. I would physically recommend everyone to go to the bank, withdraw the money, and come back. I mean, yeah, it is time taking and you would not feel good, but I'm very sorry to say, but this is the reality. Even if you are using a banking application from your mobile phone, which is connected 24 by 7 to the internet, and which is actually being installed on any Android or an iOS device, which is monitored by some person in some country. Uh, see, you can always uh, see, depends upon the what do you call it, the notifications which the government releases. If they think that you are required in certain part of the field, and that is when they start hiring. So there is no we have certain forensic science laboratories, and we have this what do you call uh, CFSA, which is Central Forensic Science Laboratory, they roll out certain notifications if they are looking for someone in this their particular field. So yes, once they roll out, we uh, always check the online portals. Somewhere as soon as they always check the websites of the original website, and if they roll out something, then yes, apply for it then and there. But always make sure that you have certain certifications are mandatory, because you would not be able to understand the concept if you are not certified. You need to know the concept at any cost. So this is what it is. Anything else you would like to know from my side? I'm always here.
Thank you so much, Pragati sir. That was indeed a great awareness session on cybersecurity and the real problem which we everybody is facing in their life. So, on the behalf of both SecOnSec and Cyber Defenders community, I would like to thank you for giving your valuable time and sharing the real-time cyber threats which each individual is facing every day. And definitely, I believe this session will not only help the cybersecurity community, but it will help each individual who are facing cyber threats in one or the other form. And we will look forward to have you with us in future. Thank you once again for giving your
Thank you,
valuable time.
NHG, and thank you, Seconset and Cyber Defense. Let this cyber safe. Let this make cyber world a safe place. Enjoy, take care, and be social physically, not online. Thank you so much, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.